Is on.
Welcome everybody to Stunt Hangar Video Hangout. This is Monday evening. It is October 5th, 2020. And here, oh, by the way, my name is Charles Carter, and I'll be your host this evening. And we usually talk about model aviation. Sometimes we get off topic, but the thrust of it is model aviation, flying, control line, or combat, um, all aspects of control line and even RC. We talk about building. There's building tips. I've learned a lot on this platform as far as building and flying and competing, and that's the kind of things to talk about. I'd like to encourage you to keep this conversation friendly, room friendly, so that you won't say anything you wouldn't say in front of your children. And if you want to be part of this conversation, you need to be a registered member of Stunthangar, and the website is stunthanger.com/SMF. And to register, you'll have to use your real first and last name with a space between them and a valid email address, and then you will hopefully be approved by Sparky. Speaking of Sparky, Sparky out of his pocket does a lot of this for us, and I'm just asking for donations to help with the expenses of this programming, like the live events at contests. And I believe we have a super chat thing at the bottom of the chat box. We also have memberships. There's a three-tier level, and the lowest level is $4.99. I'm also a member of that at that level, and it's a way of helping offset the expenses of equipment acquisition and just the expenses that go along with this programming, and then to keep it free. And anyways, I'm going to post a link at the Stunt Hangar. Now, if you're not a member of Stunt Hangar, you can still be part of the program, and I encourage you to go to the chat box at YouTube and go ahead and put your questions there, comments. Um, and I keep an eye on it. I have two monitors, and so I really do my best to include your observations, comments, and questions in the conversation we're having here. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link now. So I imagine there's some people that are biting at the bit to get in. But anyways, I'm curious to find out what you've done this week so far. I know we had the Ringmaster Flyathon this weekend. Um, I was with two other guys, so three of us. I think we put up about 6 flights, about 2 flights each. We had other planes beside Ringmasters, but I went ahead to the Ringmaster Brother of the Rings, I think it's called, website, and I filled in my flight report. So I believe in the other gentleman put his in too. So I had 2 flights, so official. Hey Gary,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good.
Let me turn off this phone here. Um, turn off this phone. Oh boy. Hey, what's up, Tom?
Yeah.
Hey, Charles. Hi, Gary.
I was going to apologize, you guys. I get to listen to you guys and enjoy every conversation. I just doze off.
Oh, that's okay.
So
You know,
anyway,
sometimes that happens. I remember falling asleep on other people myself, so it happens. You obviously are very comfortable there, so that's the other part too.
yeah.
So do
So,
you go back
I
and
want to
watch?
share.
Go ahead, Tom.
yeah.
I said I wanted to share with you a little video that I did on the project that I'm working on.
Okay.
Sparky got me all excited about CNC
Yeah,
machines.
me too.
Right.
I've kind
Yeah,
of
me
been,
too.
Me too.
I've been collecting parts to build one for a long time. So
Right.
I'll show you this video of my progress
All
here.
right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Can you see that screen yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'll wait until when you tell me that shows up, I'll start it.
Okay. It looks like your initials just showed up. So maybe what's going to happen next will be the video. And we have 6 viewers right now concurrently watching us. So thank you. And I see Jack Snavely is in the chat box. He says hello again to fellow hobbyists. Looking forward to another show. So am
Hi.
I. So am
Yeah.
I, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Yeah.
That's still not working?
No, but I just
No.
have your initials, and as you speak, it gets louder or it
All right.
changes.
Let me stop it and see if I can restart. Maybe
Okay.
there's something happened there. Maybe I did something wrong. Try this.
All right. Oh, here we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's showing. Excellent.
Okay. All right, I'll start it now.
All righty.
Hey guys, so here's my CNC build so far, and it's got circulating ball, linear drives, linear guides. So it's 12 inches by 30, almost 31 inches.
Oh wow.
Oh, those are some serious linear guides. Yeah, that's a real machine.
Yeah.
Tom, you want to make that base a little bit more rigid on the base on the, instead of that MDF on the bottom.
So that's what I've got done so far. I still have the ball screws to finish up, motors, wiring, all that stuff. So
Wow.
come along though, and this is what I got done so far.
So
Thanks.
this is going to be a laser or a router?
I want to do it with the laser cutter.
Wow.
Yeah, just a diode laser, not a CO2. I wanted to get a CO2 laser, but they're so expensive.
Cheapskate.
Hey, I'm not working anymore, so I can't afford to go too expensive.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, I really love your linear guides that you put in there, right? What I would probably say the base, your table, if it's a laser cutter, yeah, obviously you want to have it super flat, right? You want it flat, right? But in addition to that, you want to put some kind of a honeycomb kind of a steel on it, so it kind of elevates the part. So as the laser gets out of focus, after it cuts through the part, you don't want it to dig in through the whatever you have underneath it.
Sure. Yeah.
But those linear ball bearings, that's top-notch quality, man.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah. If you try to make it in a milling machine, you need to have it a little bit more rigid, the table especially, and at those vertical sides. It's not suitable for a milling machine. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discourage you, but I tell you right now, it's going to be weak. It's going to vibrate. It's going to move. If the sides do this number, and your head is doing under load, and as the head is trying to grab and push, yeah. So very nice, very nice. What are going to use for stepper motors?
Yeah, just stepper motors.
You have encoders on them?
No.
Okay.
This is more of a hobby type, similar to what Sparky's doing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to limit the maximum RPM on them to control, so you don't miss steps on them. Because once you miss steps, you're gonna start do for you the same surprise that Sparky got. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Not a clue. So when I built my CNC hot wire cutter, I was skipping steps, especially when it was going to move very fast. The step motors were not strong enough. Didn't have enough drive to them to turn the ball screws and move the tables and stuff like that. So that was my big limitation. Holy smokes! Who's got a beast over there?
I do have that, so I can make parts.
Oh, that is so great. I mean, you can definitely make. Yeah, if you need to make some plates or something like that, that's beautiful, and especially have a DR on it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, the possum. It's nice Bridgeport. That's a nice serious machine there.
Yeah.
You know what? They sell kits that convert those machines to a CNC machine.
Yeah, that might be something I might want to do someday.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, Bill.
Hi.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
I saw your lazy eights. They're very lazy and very good.
Oh, wow.
Very nice, yeah.
Is that new?
Huh?
Is that new, Bill, your video?
Yeah, that was from this weekend. We had some pretty calm weather this weekend. Now it's windy, but it's still warm here.
I'm
30 miles an hour
watching you like a hawk.
Yeah, there were some guys that were slope soaring today, and they said it was, gusts to 32 miles an hour, and they wrecked some planes. I didn't go.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Did you see the guy that actually has a speed record in the RC flying slope?
Probably. I've seen some up to 540.
540?
Yeah.
That's about right. That's miles per hour.
Yeah.
In a glider.
Wow. I haven't seen that yet. I need to check that out.
Yeah. Hey, Charles, thanks for your comments.
Oh, they were sincere, man. That was, matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to try to show that video, just at least the reverse wing over at least. That is like...
Whatever, you want to...
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That was a solid flight.
Yeah, it was. But I was especially like, I mean, you couldn't do any better on that reverse wing over, and it just makes you stand up and pay attention. That was such a nice wing over, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. I've been telling you I was going to watch it for weeks to Sundays.
Like forever.
And I said, and I did not want to come again this Monday and had not watched it.
Oh, I'd chew your ass for that. Or not. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Well, if I say I'm going to do something, I like to
do it.
Do what I say, you know? So,
I like to watch them.
Yeah, so do I. I mean,
it's a good flying, yeah.
Very, very good. No doubt about it.
You have no idea how effortless it is to do those things.
Yeah, you're right. I have no idea because I have not experienced that. Well, you know what? Sparky's plane was pretty good flying plane. I mean, actually, I think it's the best plane I've ever flown. And so, but I was just, it's also not only the best flying plane I've ever flown, it's the prettiest plane I've ever flown. So I was being very cautious. And at the Nats, I think when I did the reverse wing over, that might have only been my third or fourth one.
On the plane?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Get that many. It might have been the second one. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of prep. I spent most of my time setting up my handle. And then when I finally got the handle where, it'd be pretty much neutral, then I started doing some patterns. And I think the third pattern was my official flight.
Oh.
So I really did not have.
Oh, man. That hurts.
Yeah. But you know what? That's, I watch that video of myself flying the Nats quite often because it's on my bucket list, and I love it.
I watched it too a few times.
Oh, thank you.
I keep an eye on my competitions.
That's right. That's why I watch you too. That's exactly why. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I watch Dennis Nunez. I watch everybody that I can watch. And have you guys seen it? The video of me flying the Nats. Have you seen that video, Tom and
Nah,
Gary? And I know.
nah.
Oh,
Who would ever
No.
watch that?
oh, oh, yeah, maybe I did quite a while ago. Like not this year, last year.
All right, cool.
Wasn't it last year that
It
you
was
flew?
last year's Nats, the
Yeah, yeah.
2018.
I think I did see that. Yeah. At least I saw Sparky's videos of it.
Yeah, Sparky posted it.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually edited his down to my flight because he had a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
stuff prior in the front where he asked me questions and all that, and that's why I edited it down to just when the plane rolls out on my channel, which is Flying Control Line Stunt on YouTube.
Okay.
So if you just search Flying Control Line Stunt on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of videos, but you'll see a thumbnail of me most likely holding my Nobler, which is red and white, and then you can get into my channel, and I have like 17 videos, I think.
Yeah, I've seen them all. I think seen the most of them,
Wow.
if not all of them, at some point.
I'll check those out, Charles. I haven't.
I told you I'm watching my competition.
I'm flattered you even consider me competition. Thank you very much. National
No, I
champion.
do enjoy.
By the way,
I do
he's a
enjoy
national
watching everybody flying. Sam, especially when he kicks everybody's ass in combat.
Oh, I
or
know.
something like that. I don't have.
Well,
I want to see when he kicks his dad's butt in combat. That's fun. That would be fun to watch.
My YouTube channel is just my name, Tom Rammel. So
Okay, I'll check it
I
out.
don't see any of those videos.
Tom,
And Bill, I was going to ask you, how is your electric control line playing okay after the end of that video there?
Oh yeah, I crashed in those tall weeds. I didn't hurt it
Yeah.
at all. Never
Right.
hit the ground.
that wasn't the electric one.
Yeah.
It was not the electric plane, was it?
The first
Well,
flight was
First
not.
was the Buster, and then the second flight was that
Second flight.
baby Nobler with the electric on it.
Ah, okay. You're doing very well over there. I mean, just you seem to be a little bit quite comfortable over there and going for it. That's awesome, man. You know, a lot of people don't fly inverted like after 100 years probably, so they venture over there. But you go for it. That's very, very good idea. Great idea, man.
You know, there's
I'm
something
watching you.
psychological about trying an outside loop, and here I'm doing, most of it when I do the back of the figure eight, but this idea of diving down and pulling out inverted just scares me.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. It's like I bet you were just as scared when you did your first loops.
Yeah.
Or maybe even when you do something for the first time, you get more used to it and then you get into it, right? So, but the idea is right now to try to develop both at the same time. So if you do inside loops, now try to work on your outside loops.
Well,
And do some ground school, Bill. You know, it's like instead of doing try to get used to flying inverted, right? But when you do your outside loops, make like a figure E, right? Not a round loop. Just make a figure E. Let it go. So you are a little bit gentle on the controls, on down, until you get to the top, and then you just give it a little extra down. Boom, and it just stop and just fly invert in one lap, and do it again.
I think what he's saying is start from inverted flight.
Yeah.
You're not diving to the ground at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, when you go around, you're going to dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go give it a down elevator so you can cap on the top. When you get on the top, give it a little extra down.
Yeah.
To tuck it in. Right? So but if you're mentally prepared before you even do it, so it's like down, a little extra down, boom, fly invert. Down, a little extra down, boom. So you practice it in your head, right? And and it doesn't matter. Like if you make it big, just make it big. It really doesn't matter. Just make it big, right? Um, so that's what I have to do. Just get your head prepared for that. Okay. So in case you get in trouble, down, more extra down if you get in trouble, right? Okay. So that's your thinking all the time. Down, more extra down to if I'm in trouble. If you feel like you're coming towards the ground. So because if you're not prepared, then you're gonna just freeze. You're gonna go like, what am I gonna do? Poof, you're in the ground already. Okay. So yeah, that's probably what I would say. A lot of ground, a lot about it's a. I think if you're mentally prepared, what to do, how to get your butt out of trouble, right? Like when you fly inverted, give it down towards the wheels, turn the plane towards the wheels because the wheels are up, right? Up towards the canopy. Then if you are mentally prepared, oh, I'm in trouble, I'm going towards the wheels, down towards the wheels, okay? Or up towards the canopy, whatever, That's how I like to, if I'm teaching somebody, that's how I teach. Not up is up, down is down. No, down is towards the wheels, up is towards the canopy. So regardless where the plane is, like I'm going towards the wheels, down. No, it's slightly different thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the same thing. So get prepared, do some ground game or something like that, and I know it's like you're improving a lot. I mean, you're improving a lot, not just a little bit, a lot.
And
When I
quick.
saw you doing your loops, I see how you give it a lot less input now, and just
Yeah.
allow the plane to fly the rounds. In the past, I think you gave it so much up, it was stalling, and it just plane was just struggling to just keep flying.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just ease up. You're just much more calmer, much more just gentle on the inputs, and the plane just starts to groove, right? And there is a window in which you fly. You don't want to go outside that window. That's all I have to say about that. So I'll shut up.
No, it's very good, Tryon.
Yeah.
Very good tips. I think it's very good. I can't really improve upon that at all.
Yep. Down towards the wheels, up towards the canopy. Which way you want to go? I want to go towards the wheels, down. I want to go towards the canopy, up. Simple as that. Okay.
So how's everybody else doing? How's I see Steve came in. You got some new glasses, Steve?
Since my eyes are screwing up, I can't read nothing up close.
Oh. So are those special glasses or those just new prescriptions?
They're just
Magnifiers.
yeah, magnifiers on
Okay.
safety glasses. So when I got to read really small stuff, I had these in my van.
Right.
So, but I can't. I'm gonna have to get something else. I can't even read this stuff. But I was gonna ask Tom something. Are you familiar at all with the RCATs?
What is it?
It's a lithium glow driver.
No.
Oh, okay. It was just a thing that.
I use it, Steve.
Huh?
I use it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
This thing messed up for the second time. The last time I sent it back to him, and he just sent me a whole brand new unit.
Nice.
And it's messed up again, and now he's out of business. So I guess he probably should have charged people instead of just sending them brand new. But I was wondering, this board, you can see a whole bunch of stuff on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go through to the back side, and I don't understand how you would fix this.
Those are surface mount components. And so they're all on the one side of the board, and all the traces at least start on that same side. And then if they transfer to the other side, they either use a via, which is just a hole in the board that's plated through, and then it could go to traces on the other side of the board.
Yeah, I do see traces on the other side. Can this thing be repaired or not?
If you have the right equipment and if you can get it depends on which component is bad. Because I see on there's a microcontroller, the one that has pins on all four sides of the chip. That's a microcontroller, and
Okay.
it would have a program in it. And so the problem would be you could, even if you replace that chip, it wouldn't have the program in there.
Oh.
You'd need to get the program from whoever designed it or something. So,
Steve,
like I said, it depends on which chip is bad.
yeah, that's true. It depends on what chip is bad. Usually, it's something having to either do with power or input output on it. So there might be something else in there that went belly up. The problem, of course, is you have to figure out what part that is, and even you have to have the right stuff. Surface mount components are not exactly fun to deal with unless you have very, very steady hands and you have the proper soldering equipment.
Steve, is that the new RCATs that came out a couple years ago, or is that the old Radio Southwood? Okay, that's the new one. Yeah, that's the one I use.
Yeah. I mean,
I just got a battery from him a few months ago. He's out of business now?
I got on his website and I can't find nothing.
Hold the board up the camera again.
I tried to call his phone number and it was disconnected.
I just bought a battery and a new case from him in May.
No shit.
Beginning of the season, yeah, because my RCATs was 6 years old, and the battery finally crapped out on it. And it's a great battery too. I mean, literally, you can charge that thing once or twice a year.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a 5,500 milliamp battery in there.
The first one, I forgot and left it at the field fluid deck, and it was about this time of year, and it must have got moisture, and the thing was messing up, and I sent it to him, and he just sent me another one. But now it's doing something. It won't light and stuff like that, and even though lights come on, it ain't getting no power out to it.
Okay, let me just tell you my experience with it, because I've had to fix mine probably 4 times for that same issue, and it always ended up being the terminals coming out, your wires coming out to your glow clip. Either they're broken so badly because there's no restraint in there on that thing.
Right, doesn't hold it good.
What I did with mine is, well, I mean, I've had to replace 4 or 5 different times over time, and what I ended up doing is I hard mounted mine in my box, and the new wire that I put on it, I put a restraint knot in it. And then I passed it through a piece of plywood so that when I'm yanking on it or whatever, it's pulling on the knot and not actually pulling on the connection. My connection is broken at least 4 times. I've had to resolder that.
Oh, okay.
And you could have one wire, just even a hair of a wire going across between the two, and that'll keep it from working. I bet if you unsolder that and put new leads on it, it'll work.
Oh, okay.
I would try that.
Hold the board up to the camera again.
It again?
Show where the leads come out. And hold it real close. Yeah, right there. That's where I've had the issue with mine a couple times. Because all they do is put a piece of heat shrink all the way up against that. But I'd be willing to bet you got broken wires in there. Okay. That's what it'll do. It'll power up, but then you don't get any light or anything when you connect a glow plug to it. Solder that and redo it, and I bet you're working again.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a try.
Hey, Tryon, can you mute your mic, Tryon?
He took his headphones off.
Try it. Shut up.
What's up?
Yeah, you're making a lot of noise.
I'm playing with something. Somebody gave me this nice horse,
Oh, good God.
and I'm trying to put them to good use.
So, Steve, if you give what Mike said a try, and then if it doesn't work, send me the board, and I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's probably a fuse there somewhere online. There's more than likely a fuse that could have potentially popped. I don't know, I went to the website and the website is still up, and well, they want $129 for a new one.
Yeah, I got mine in a flash sale at Christmas for
What website you got
$82.
up? Because I was on it yesterday all day and I could not get nothing.
Okay, it's rcatsystems.com
Yeah.
/store/ lithium-globe-driver.html.
You can get there by Radio South too, because it's the old Radio South guide. That's why I asked which version you had, because this is the original here.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Go back.
I have one of those, and I have one that's you use a Fataba or something charger to charge it.
Steve, I'm going to try to show you what I did with mine. We'll see if we can get this on the. Well, hang on.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
let me try to punch that in real quick. RCAT Systems?
Yeah, rcatsystems.com. All one word.
Those were great batteries. If you couldn't get your hands on what was the round red one? I can't even think of the name of that one.
Oh yeah, hey, all this stuff just came back up. I
Well,
mean,
they could have had a problem with their website, or their domain may have had an issue somewhere.
oh, okay. Cool.
So, Steve, you need to, if you get a hold of them, get the condom for them too. Get the case. They sell a rubber case for like $15 or something. Because the plastic case that they come with, I've broken like 4 or 5 of them already.
yeah, I bought the rubber case,
brittle.
and
They're
I
really
got
brittle.
I got that downstairs. So yeah, I got the rubber case for it. And basically my last case that broke, the only thing that held it together was the rubber on the rubber case.
Right.
Wow.
So see what I did in there? I've got it kind of locked in my box, and then I put a knot in the wire after the heat shrink. And then it goes through so that we're, if you're pulling on it, it's catching the knot, not anything else. Because that entry point, even though it's got heat shrink on it, like I said, mine's broken at least 4 times. I've had to repair it.
Yeah.
And it just, the system is, you get your red power button, but then you get nothing else.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using a glow driver. You can use, like from 3 volts to 24. So I use like a lithium 3-cell, or I can use my 12 volt on it. But the problem I'm having is that the clip that goes over the glow plug, the tube sort of clips, I just have an awful time with those. They don't make good connection. So I'm going to try a clothespin type. Do other people have trouble with those?
Clothespin type's the way to go, man, for sure.
Okay.
And actually, the best one out there, right? Don't buy a Dubro or a Sullivan. Those are all crap. If you want a really good one, you get one of the Russian ones from Yarrow out of Canada that the combat guys use. They're, well, I'll show you. That's what I'm using. It's this one here. And they're better made than the Sullivan and the Dubros, and they don't break as often. It's Aero Hobby is the company, Bill. I can message it to you if you're interested. I mean, the Sullivans and the Dubros, they'll work fine, but you'll end up breaking them at some point.
Mhm.
They're just not very robust. And this RCATS, you're talking about using different voltages where you can crank it up. You don't have to do that on these RCATs. It adjusts automatically depending on what it's reading from the glow plug. So it'll tell you it's got an LED light bar that goes across the top, 2 yellows, then a bunch of greens, and then it gets into the red. If you're at red, it's grounded. You've got no plug. If you got 2 yellows and 2 greens, you're ready to start. It's got just the right amount of prime in it. If there's a bunch of greens, it means you're flooded. Okay. And then this thing will automatically adjust the voltage to the plug to light the plug off. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this will light a glow plug off in a glass of water. That's one of their demonstration videos. Yeah. They take a lit glow plug and put it in a glass of water, and the plug is lit.
It ain't
That's
just
why
lit.
it's
bright.
Set it, forget it. And the guy's really cool too. I think they stay on for 30 minutes. They got an automatic shut off on them, which is nice because the old Radio South one's got an on off switch and you always forget to turn them off. But these automatically turn off. They got a timer on them. And when I got mine, I called him and he programmed my timer for 7 minutes. So, and I did that because a combat match is 5 minutes. So I start it right at the beginning of the match. It's good for the match. And then it shuts off right after the match. And then I'm not burning battery all day. You're not forgetting to turn it off. The auto shut off feature is nice on it because it's on because you got a red light. If you don't have a red light,
what's the normal shut off time before you changed it?
I think it's 30 minutes. I think it's 30 minutes. Yeah, but I called it because somebody told me, they said, you can get that adjusted. Not that that's a big deal. I mean, for a weekend of flying, if it stays on for 30 minutes at a time, but I think it definitely, improves your battery life if it's shutting off after 7, Because how long do you need it?
I know.
That's the other thing is you can't shut it off. Once you turn it on, it's got a timeout. You can't manually shut it off. It shuts off all by itself.
Yeah.
Steve, did you get the PM I sent you?
I did. I sent you one back.
Okay. I'll look at it in a few minutes then.
And I left you a message on your phone.
Okay. Sounds good. I can check that.
And Bill, I use my igniter is an orange one. I'm trying to think of the name, Tritronics or what it's called, but it's a really solid, small, compact igniter. I'm sure it'll come to me tonight as I keep thinking about it. But it's a really good igniter. Not as nice as the one that Steve and Mike are talking about, but it's more compact.
Well, Hobby King had a really sweet lithium glow driver for like $20, and it had all the same features of the RCAT. It was smaller, it was a lot more compact, and the wires were pretty chintzy on it. But the unit itself, it was lithium, 3,000 milliamp battery. Turn it on, stays on for 30 minutes, and tell all the same features. And they were like $19.99, but they're discontinued now. You can't get them anymore.
Yeah, my battery igniter is 3,400 milliamps or amp hours. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, the RCATS has a 5,500 in it, and like I said, I charge it like I use it a lot during contest season and flying combat, but probably 3 times a year.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about the one you have. What's that, Steve?
That's the one Mike's talking about.
Oh, that's the Hobby King one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for $20. I mean, I should have bought like 4 of them.
I wish I had too.
I only bought the
Wish I'd
one.
known about one.
Yeah, this has 5,200 in it.
Oh, is it 52? It's that big?
Yeah, it's a 3-cell, it says. But I don't like it as good. I lost the directions, and it's like if you hit the damn button too many times, it goes into crazy ass shit.
Corn jar.
Ching.
Where, Jar?
To where the one thing I always liked about this is that when we were running, at a contest, we'd get all ready, and I have this hooked to Samantha's plane or whatever, and she'd tell me she was ready. I'd hit the button, and I could see if I had the glow plug flooded. And you can watch it burn out the flood, and the lights will come back down. So I knew when to whack it, Then I'd give her the signal. It's okay to signal for time, and then she'd signal for time, and I'd whack it, and then it was going. But yeah, I just like the RCAS better than this one, but this one's the same way. I haven't charged it since last year, and I just used it Thursday.
Very cool. There's been a little chatter on the chat. Let me get those guys in here a little bit. Starting with Minnesota Mike, he said, check out dynamic soaring regarding the speed soaring plane. And then Jeff Riley says hello, and he thanked me for the comments. I left some comments on his YouTube channel. And Terry Forbes says he's been flying DS since its inception. What is DS?
Dynamic soaring.
Dynamic soaring. And let me see, Minnesota Mike says he went and watched them fly. It was unreal. They fly east of Bakersfield. Okay, I know where that's at. And then Jeff Riley says he must be the ultimate cheapskate. He still uses a $3 dry cell with a pair of alligator clips.
Nothing wrong with that. It works.
I know. I hear you, Jeff. I feel you on that
You're
one.
my hero, Jeff.
Terry Forbes says he's been out to the West Coast 6 or 7 times in the past 9 years and always managed to get some West Coast dynamic soaring flying in his schedule. He built the 80-inch ship as it travels well, and here I fly my 100-inch custom ship. And then Gerald Wimmer, hello Charles and everybody on Stunt Hangar Hangout. The Ringmaster Flyathon was lots of fun having our copy break. So listening in now, but we'll have to watch later as we're working outside. And speaking of the Ringmasterathon, I put up 2 official flights, and the guy I'm teaching how to fly with his Ringmaster, he put up 2 official flights. So I posted them my flight report at the website. So anybody else fly the Ringmasterathon this weekend?
We did.
All right.
I put up a bunch.
Sam and I went down to Huntsville and flew with John Rist, Ty Marcucci, and a couple other guys whose names I can't remember. But Sam put up 9. I did 13.
Wow.
That was on Saturday. And then for the day, for Saturday, they got 76 flights with 9 pilots. So that was pretty good. And we had a dad with 2 kids that were playing baseball on the baseball diamond next door. They came over. I think they were probably 6 and 9.
Great.
And they were just hanging out watching. So, of course, I grabbed both of them and put them on the handle on Sam's Ringmaster, and they both soloed.
Really?
And,
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we had 2 new pilots, 76 flights. We had a pretty good day. Didn't wreck anything. One guy crashed. One guy. Sam and I were flying 2 up with the Ringmaster and the Sterling P-51, which is basically a Ringmaster wing.
Yeah.
And then Ty and one of the other guys wanted to fly 2 up with their Ringmasters. They're like, oh, we can do that. And the other guy fell down at some point and crashed his airplane. They got tangled. They didn't get in a line tangle. I think they just kind of bumped into each other or whatever. So he wrecked his. But other than that, ended up being a good day. And I came home with another pulse jet.
Oh,
holy cat.
Wow.
How do you just come home with a pulse jet?
Well, I don't know. I pulse jet magnetic, I guess. I'm not sure.
I mean, there just aren't that many of those things in the country.
Well, let me tell you.
Just come home with one.
Let me tell you the story on this, because I was ready to throw up after Ty told me. He found a guy somewhere in Tennessee, around Chattanooga or something, that had a bunch of his dad's old control line stuff. Mm-hmm. And Ty and another guy went over there, and this guy was just looking to give it away and put it in people's hands that would use it, right?
Yeah.
So Ty loaded up his car with as much stuff as he could, him and the other guy.
Wow.
They got home, and Ty called me and said, hey, this guy, he gave me a Dynajet. I know you fly him, so I'm going to get this into your hands. Well, this ended up being the one. Ty says the guy had 3 more on airplanes. And here, you know, he's got 3 more pulse jets on airplanes.
Wow.
You need to call him. Well, by the time I got around to calling the guy, he had taken everything that was left and took it to the city dump and threw it all away.
Oh, man.
Oh.
He threw it all away.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
told him, I was just sick. I was like, did you ever fly those things? He's like, no, I watched my dad fly them. My dad flew them a lot in the 50s and 60s, you know, and I didn't really think they were worth anything. And I had to get it out of, you know, we were cleaning out his house. They had to get his house cleaned out. It's like, so we just, after tying them, came and took what they had. We took everything else to the dump. And he goes, are they valuable? And I said, well, you're going to be sick when I tell you, but you know, they're worth anywhere from $100 to $250, depending on the condition of them. He was sick, you know, he got sick. But anyway, we got the one. It's missing some parts. It doesn't have the valve retainer and the lock ring and the flow ejector, but I've already got those hunted down. Dick Hart over in New Zealand is going to set me up. I don't know if he's in New Zealand or Australia, but he's a big pulse jet guy. I put out an ad saying I got a rescue and I need parts, so I got parts coming for it. So I'll have another runner. But,
Now, that run, you think, Mike? It looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah. I mean, it's been highly modified. Somebody really, really cranked on the head a lot. It took a lot out of there. But no, it's the pipe's in good shape. The spark plug is dead, but I got plugs. But the pipe's in pretty decent shape, and the head with the right stuff on it, it'll run. It'll run again.
Oh yeah.
So
I still remember.
After I got this one, I went and counted. I'm up to 7 pulse jets now and 11 pipes.
Wow.
But I'm not going to say no to someone. If somebody's going to get
I
them,
wouldn't.
I'm going to get the parts and make it a runner. You know, it's going to be a runner. So,
I remember the first one of those I ever saw. Huff and Hurlocker was starting. They used, if any of you know Speed in the 70s and 80s, you remember Huff Hurlocker. They had a bunch of records. But anyway, they came out and started one of those things up, and they told everybody to get behind the protection. The protection was a piece of two pieces of 4x4 shoved in the ground 2 feet, and a piece of 3/4 inch plywood between it, and that was supposed to stop one of those things. I said, yeah, in your dreams.
yeah.
I won't even slow it down.
No.
Jeez.
Well, I'm bringing 2 of my planes to the Baton Rouge contest to fly down there. I've been in contact with Jamie Holford. He flies down there, and Norm Faith, I guess. And I guess it's a private field because Jamie messaged me and was like, bring a pulse jet to New Orleans. They got an asphalt circle. I was like, okay, if I got permission to do it, you know, and he got back. He's like, yeah, they're all about it. So bring one. So we'll see if we can get a couple new guys on the sport jet, get some new jet pilots in the air.
Bring one to Huntersville next time. Well, I'd like to see one fly.
Can't fly it there. Can't fly it there. No, it's
ridiculous.
I know Banjock has flown his there, but I think he got chastised for it after because it's on a landfill and they got methane wells out there. And now you can take this either way, but no open flames or open sparks is what they say. So they kind of the kibosh on the Dynajet there. But if you've ever run a glow engine at night without an exhaust, what's it look like coming out of the exhaust?
Flames.
Is open flame. So, but no, they're not welcome at Huntersville. So
that's weird because Winston-Salem is the old Winston-Salem airport, the old Winston-Salem dump. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, that was the dump. And the first 25, 30 years we flew there, you could smell, the guys that could smell methane. And the mosquitoes used to be god awful out there. But in the last 5 years or so, it's starting to ease up a little bit. It's not, I mean, you know, you still come home with some mosquito bites, but it's not near what it used to be. And we are hoping, now I say hoping because they have started working on Hobby Park. They've redone our parking lot. I don't know if you've ever been to Winston-Salem Field, but they've started working on our field, and they've done a lot with the parking lot. They fixed the Soapbox Derby track and extended it way out, hoping to get the Soapbox Derby match here. And they have promised and got signs up saying phase 3, we will have 2 repaved circles and a, not grass, but get this, AstroTurf grass circle.
Nice.
AstroTurf. Now, my question. We have people that come out there in motorcycles and 4-wheel drives and tear up the grass circle. What you reckon they're going to do with AstroTurf? Makes no sense to me. Yeah. And they don't do anything. Their idea of security is they close the fence at 10 o'clock at night.
You had to put some cameras up there.
Winston-Salem, they're not that forward thinking. I mean, they really aren't. I worked for them for 30 years, and I'm telling you, it is hard to get them to do anything that wasn't the way it was done. We've always done it this way. That's the way it goes.
What you do is you get a sign made up that says cameras in use or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how that deters a lot of people just seeing that sign.
What a bunch of us have done, we went and bought a bunch of those. Bass Pro Shops has a little sign like that, yellow, the bright yellow with red letter. It says smile, and it's got a smiley face. You're on candid camera.
Right.
And we put 4 or 5 of those up so far. I've got 2 more in the basement right now, along with one that says, if you can read this, you're in range, and it's got a target on it. But anyway, we're going to put those up and try our best, because I don't know what we can do, man. These idiots come out there in full-size 4-wheel drives. You can be out there flying, and these idiots come out there and driving on the field. And you're just,
Yeah, I know a girl with a farm, and people were going out in her field and running big trucks and shit like that out.
Yeah.
And she put up signs that says cameras in use or whatever.
Yeah.
She hasn't had anybody yet go back out there in that field.
Well, we're gonna try it, because it's I've put in two new pipes to put extendable poles on for not flags, but windsocks, and then we've got the new things like Charles designed. Some days I can think of everything I'm trying to say, and some days I just can't come up with words. But anyway,
height guy, but that's what I call it.
Yeah, height. I've got two height guides now. I've got the new cones, and I've got the old cones that were faded anyway. I just painted them yellow, so we use them for the sides of your loops, figure eights. So I think we're going to be all right if we can just keep it all together without somebody tearing it up or stealing it. But I'm sure we'll have to take it down every time and bring it home, because people will steal anything.
No, I talked to John Paris, and Mike Paris went out yesterday and flew the ringmaster with him. First time he'd flown in 3 years or something like that, maybe 4.
That's great.
That's cool.
So I asked Mike, I said, so how much money did he ask to borrow when you guys were all done flying?
That's funny.
I don't think I'll ever forget the first time I ever went to VSC. There was this brand new Cadillac sitting there, brand new. And they had this little tin can on a stick, hammered in the ground in front of it. It had a little sign on it that said, "Help a destitute modeler get home." It was taking pennies, quarters, whatever you had. It was Larry Scarenzi. The man's a millionaire. Jeez. He is a load of fun. Larry is always fun. You never know what he's going to think. You never know what he's going to say. You never know what he's going to do next.
Now,
he is a load of fun.
Is Larry really worth that much money? He made that much money in that bike shop?
That's what I understand. I've got pictures back in the 50s. He and George Aldrich going to a big contest. I don't know where it was. But Larry pulled up in his new Cadillac, and George pulled up in his Rolls Royce. And I know George had a Rolls Royce because I've seen a lot of pictures of that thing. And George had some money. He lived on a farm it wasn't a couple 100 acres. It was large.
Well, Larry was just at the Vintage Combat Festival in Jersey a couple weeks ago.
Wouldn't surprise me if he was still flying and flying well.
Yeah.
They say the difference between a rich man and a poor man is the poor man washes his own Cadillac.
That's it. That's it. Scarenzi's a mess, man. I'm telling you, but he is so much fun to be around.
I know one thing though. It seems like every contest we went to, I was always staying at the same hotel as him and his wife.
Yeah.
And I always stayed at the cheapest ones I could find. So maybe that's how he kept his money.
That's Scarenzi. That's just the way he is. And he's tight as a tick. But I tell you what, that woman somebody should get her put up for sainthood.
They should canonize her? Really? She's that good?
She has put up with him all these years and hadn't killed him yet. She needs to be put up for sainthood. Larry is a mess, I'm telling you.
What's his wife's name? And I can't think of it now. I just thought of it.
I can't remember.
It just left my mind.
I'm having trouble remembering.
So nice. But yeah. Bob Hunt said that when she was young and Larry and her first married, that every kid in the club had their first crush on her. That she was that good looking.
I wouldn't doubt it. Pictures I've seen of them 40 years ago, she was a good looking lady. She's still not bad. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
She's a pretty lady even now, but I tell you what, some of them really pretty. Some of them, they're 40 years ago when I was a teenager and going to contests, it was hard for me sometimes before I got married, it was hard for me to keep my eyes on the models. Some of the ladies were pretty. And I just had to, give me a job with a stopwatch so I got to watch this because I'm going to get in trouble otherwise. So they did. They did. They knew once the locals found out I could read a stopwatch, I was either at Speed or Navy Carrier all the time. If I wasn't flying stunt, I was down there.
That was like
those were the days.
Dick Imhoff, his wife, when I was a kid. Oh my God, she should have been a Playboy model.
I'm telling you.
And she dressed in the skimpiest stuff, and it was like wherever she went, guys were just the whole group kind of went with her.
Right.
There used to seem to be one or two in every region like that.
Oh my God, was she something in the day? I mean,
oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I remember. That's
now, if they would compete, they'd probably win all the time, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
nobody be looking at the model.
I mean, we'd have like when they'd have a combat contest here, and they'd have stunt and stuff. We'd have 100 guys show up. I mean, it was like the Nats, and she ran the contest all the time.
Wow.
So she was, like the ED or whatever. She ran everything, and but
what she said went.
Yep. And no one argued with her.
No, I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that. I tell you what, that was a lot of fun. I wish I'd been able to compete when I was 19, 20 years old because we used to have some really fun contests.
Well, I mean, everybody from Chicago came to Grand Rapids, and everyone from Detroit came to Grand Rapids.
Well, we came to Grand Rapids one year, but.
And then, basically everyone from Detroit and Grand Rapids went to Chicago, and Chicago, Grand Rapids went to Detroit. I mean, we had huge contests. I mean, they were massive. That's like when I went to the NASA. Oh, yeah, we got like 100 people here. And it's like, damn, I thought this would be a lot bigger because from what I was used to as a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I remember going to a Chicago Nationals when I was oh God, I don't remember how old I was, but it was one of I think it was the last Chicago Nationals. And then I went to the Lubbock, Texas Nationals. And then I went to one in Virginia at the old Navy base. And it was a world of difference. The one in Chicago was, my God, it was wall-to-wall people. Never seen so many people. We'd start flying. They would start flying at 8 o'clock in the morning. And they'd still be flying at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And they ain't slowed down. They have not slowed down.
Is that Dick had a motorhome, and usually 4 or 5 guys went with him, to a to a different contest. He traveled sometimes more, but he tore out the bathroom in this closet and shit. It was nothing but combat airplanes hanging in there. They were on the beds. He had pictures of all the airplanes they took with them, and then once they got parked and stuff, they'd all go in the front, underneath the motorhome, all kinds of shit. So the guys had places to sleep.
Boy, I remember seeing guys come in here from Chicago and I cannot think of the guy's name. He's in Washington State. Now Howard Rush. Howard Rush came in here one year, and we thought, Lord, we would have been invaded by royalty here, because Howard in the day, man, he was the combat man. He came in here wearing a clown suit.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm trying to get a hold of Tom.
Oh, he's a mess.
This is Brad. Hey, Tom, how you doing? All right, great. Tom, I'm having some good success, some mixed success with my programming on this Arduino with a
I think he's on the phone.
NPU 6050.
In his clown suit.
Oh yeah. Howard showed up in a clown suit and flying a plane that had a rudder on it, a combat plane that had a rudder on it.
Wow.
And I couldn't resist. I walked over and said, Howard, what gives? And he says, well, the force that holds the plane to the outside of the circle is beta. And this is a master. The rudder makes this the master. And he went ahead and put the two together, and I said, oh, no. Okay. The man just wasn't right. He just wasn't right.
Yeah, Dick's got pictures of him here, and I don't remember him. I don't remember seeing him in his clown suit here in Grand Rapids, but he's got pictures of him in that clown suit and stuff.
Yeah, I've got pictures of him. He's a mess. He was an absolute mess. And Les McDonald here with his, several of his stilettos. He came several years. I saw the 700, and I saw the first 660 that had the big long, not the first 660, but the 660 that had the big long fillets in front of the wing and behind the wing. I saw the one that went to the Worlds, and it was there was several stilettos. But that man, if you watch Les McDonald first flight of the morning, if he made a bobble, he made that same bobble all day long, every flight. The man was a machine, but I've never seen anybody any better than him. He was the best I've ever seen. And he was such a nice guy doing it. He just kick your butt and just make you want to hug him or something. He was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, we tried to get him to fly there at the Nats.
No, he won't go near one.
No.
And I understand why. If you ever read his story, you'll understand why. He wanted to be the best, and he was really driven to be the best. And it cost him a marriage, and he says not again.
Yeah, it cost Billy like 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Billy is the overall best I've ever seen. I mean, he can build, he can paint, Billy is the man as far as I'm concerned. I talked to him at the Worlds. Well, there was the Nationals and the Worlds together, but I talked to him during the Worlds. He taught me more in 10 minutes than I could believe, because he said, you're thinking about this all wrong. He said, don't think of it that way. Think of it like this. And he started talking, and I said, well, that makes sense. And I thought, well, I have been reading about this guy since I was in the 3rd grade. So, since I was old enough to read model aviation, I've been reading about Bill Werbage and the Aries and the Super Aries and all that. And to finally meet the guy was just incredible. But Bobby Hunt took me over and introduced me to him. And Billy is incredible. He is a real gentleman and just so nice, but so knowledgeable. Propellers.
Yeah.
He'd talk an hour about a propeller.
I mean,
he's something else.
You had Bob McDonald's dad. You had him.
Yeah.
You had Big Art.
Oh, I loved him.
And then that guy that did the Argus. I can't.
Argus
Steve
was
Woolley? Steve Woolley.
Steve Woolley was the Argus. Yeah.
Yeah, he's mine.
Woolley. I mean, all them guys hung out together, and I mean, they were all, tremendous when it come to building and flying. They said, Woolley was, I I guess he was an engineer or something. He ended up dying in a car crash.
He was a millionaire. Yeah, he was test driving a guy's Jaguar. I'll think of the model number in a minute, but he rolled it, and it didn't have a roll bar worth of crap and killed him. Took his head off. But he was a millionaire. He was a very interesting fellow. You didn't walk up to him. You just got close and let him come to you, and he would. But if you tried to walk up to him, it really put him off.
Well, he was in our club, so I got to fly with him. And
I bet that was a lot of fun. I got to see him one time. And I was a kid. But I can't remember where we were. But my dad heard there was a model contest in town, wherever we were. And Mama, I think Mama put him up to it, took me out the field so I could watch the models fly. And I got to see him. I didn't get to meet him that day. But then the next time I saw him, he remembered me. I guess, well, he must remember loudmouth kids because I was asking 40 questions. But
so Gary, did you fly with him as a kid or whatever when they were?
Yeah, we're in the same club.
All right, let me ask you a question. I have always heard when those guys flew those Detroiters way back in the day, if one of them crashed and everybody went over to look at the wreckage, that the whole club would come over and just stomp heck out of the plane where you couldn't figure out what it was you were looking at and just destroy it. Well, I've been told by more than one person that they used to just destroy it. If they couldn't throw something over it and cover it where you couldn't see how it was built, they would destroy it where you couldn't tell how it was built. The Detroiter wing, the I-beam wing, that was a closely guarded secret, and they just didn't let it out.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk about keeping secrets.
Well, they said that it was either Steve Willie or Billy, one of the two. I think it was Steve Willie, pulled an airplane out of the trash, and that's how he got one of them two copied the that wing.
No, those two, Steve Woolley and Billy Werwidge, were in the Detroit club, and Roland McDonald is the one credited. He's one of the ones credited with coming up with that wing. There was two guys, and I can't remember the other guy's name right now. I will later, but can't right now. But that wing was a really closely guarded secret for a while. And if you ever try to build one, you'll know why. If you ever start trying to build that spar, I don't know what's tickling my nose so bad. If you ever try building that spar, when you go cut it, you cut it down straight. When you come off of the center, when you cut some off of this side, you cut an equal amount off this side. If you sand it, you sand some off of that side. You do equal amounts to both sides. If you wait 30 minutes, I guarantee that stupid thing will warp. You got to be equal and do it all. And when you start building it, you go ahead and get it built. It's an interesting airplane. It's taken me years to figure out that when you do something to the top of that spar, you do it to the bottom of the spar as well. And if you do something, if you put a doubler on the back, at the same time you put the other doubler on the front and clamp that sucker together right now. Do everything equal, and your spar is fine. But you sand 3 swipes off this side, and you don't do anything to this side, in the morning, I guarantee you that thing will be warped. Because I've got about 6 of them downstairs right now that are warped. I've got one in a USA 1 that Bill Little and I put together. And Bill took about 2 passes down that silly thing that morning, thinking he wanted to get that incline off because it would show, because he knows I like to do clear finishes or see-through finishes. Anyway, he took about 2 swipes down that thing, and we started putting ribs on that puppy and put that thing together. With the 2 of us working on it, didn't take 2 hours. We had a wing built. The next day, that wing, I mean, looking down it from tip to tip, that wing, that spar does that about 1/8 of an inch. It's unreal. And Looper and everybody else said it can't do that. It can't do that. So one day we were the weather was bad. I put the thing in a trash bag so I could carry it and took it to the restaurant and set it on the table to show the guys, well, you think it can't do it, but here it is. Thank you. So I asked them to explain this one to me, and they all said, I didn't think it could do that. I said, well, Bill Little and I ain't no first timers. We've done this before. But this thing didn't work. I don't know why, but it didn't work. But Gary, when did you fly with him? Did you get to fly with him very much? Uh-oh, he disappeared. Oh well. I always enjoyed stories of those old guys because they were just, I mean, they're the ones that made this. Made this thing popular.
I think Gary's back. His camera's off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm back.
There he is.
How were those guys to fly with? Were they personable back then, or I've always heard that they were very standoffish. How were they?
Well, I thought they were all right, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we just all flew together.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I'm with you. You can see this. This is that's our club back there. Can you see?
I remember that picture in the magazine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Steve Woolley over to the left.
Yeah. And then I got my big one there at the front there. That big one is not finished yet.
Yeah, that big
That's
green one, right?
Ballerinas. My ballerinas there.
The big green one there, just to the left of center, is Steve Woolley's Cobra.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was in the magazine. And then
Here's picture.
And here's his picture.
Yeah, that's what that looks like. The Argus. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
How'd he make so much money?
Well, I don't know. I never did know.
I don't know. I think he was born to it.
I know he's working at DuPont or something around here, but I'm not sure.
I think he was born to it, but he.
Yeah.
The guys that knew him well said he was a very nice guy. Once he got to know you. But
he wasn't very old when he died, was he?
No.
No.
No, I think he was still in his 20s. I think. I'm not sure, but I think he was still in his 20s. He was still sports car racing, so I got that out of him. Go ahead.
I know he had a picture of I think I don't know, it was a Buick or Oldsmobile or something. Anyway, when he's going down to King Orange, they had a picture of the dashboard where the speedometer went clear to the right and it clear out of space. And how would you do that back in them days? They didn't have the interstates.
No.
So I don't know how you could
on a two-lane road someplace.
Yeah.
You just had to be a little crazy, Gary.
I guess.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I never had the guts for that, but some people did.
My dad's from Florida, and my mom was saying that there was like 5,000 traffic lights between here and where my dad lived because there was no interstate.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who owned a filling station by us up here, and he was from Florida, right where my dad was raised and stuff. And he bought a new Corvette, and it was about a 63 or whatever. But it was always a 20-hour drive for us to get down there and stuff when we were kids. We had some interstates when I was a kid. But he said he made it there in his Corvette in 10 and a half hours. From his one door to his mom's door.
Wow.
Wow, like, holy shit. How fast was he going in that 63 Corvette with that 327 in it to make it there that fast?
A little 327 is a tough motor. It's what my little pickup's got in it. But you're right. That was singing. He had the bumpers. He had the thing in the wind for sure.
He went at night, so there wasn't a lot of traffic or whatever he said. But still, there's still all the damn back then the stop signs and the traffic lights. I remember when we go to Florida, I seen on this Aero America or whatever showing there in Indianapolis, they have a big in the roundabout in the center of town with a memorial statue in it for World War I and II, whatever. And every year we have to go around that thing.
Yeah.
Go down. You had to go down through downtown Indianapolis and stuff like that. And we always took 131, which was division by our house, and we got on that and we drove that road all the way to Indianapolis. I mean, there was no real interstate or nothing.
No.
You know, they were building it out, but yeah, that was it now stopped just before the Michigan border, but it was 131 was supposed to go from the bridge to Indianapolis, and they never finished it.
Oh heck.
So it still goes, I don't know, 90 miles from the bridge it stops, and it goes about 30 miles before you hit the Indiana border, it stops. And then there's places in Indiana where you have some divided highway, and then you don't, and then you do. They just never, they're talking about it here about 6, 7 years ago to finish it, but it never got the funding to, because that would cut off so much time if we could run straight to Indianapolis and then head down 69, you know, going south like that. But
that's one thing about living where I do. You got highways to anywhere you want to go. 40 comes right through town. You can get on 40, and if you get lost between here and California, you got lost when you got off to get gas, because it's just get on 40 and keep going west.
I tell you what, when we went down there to that field, like Huntersville, we got on GPS, me and Samantha, and it said, "Oh yeah, this is the you know, the closest way or whatever." Don't take the closest way to Huntersville from Michigan. It ran us through Ohio into West Virginia, and it was a 2-lane road following a river for like 2.5 hours.
I know where you're talking about.
And these houses didn't even have driveways. The house was there, and they parked long ways in front of their house off the side of the road. And I'm like, oh my God, but talk about slow. On the way back, we headed over. I'm like, we may go an extra 30 miles, but I'm running interstate. I ain't taking it. Once we got out of West Virginia, it was fine, but man, West Virginia was horrible.
Yeah. We have family there, and I still try to avoid it at all costs. My wife has family in West Virginia, and I swear to goodness, I'll go anywhere in the country, but don't ask me to drive through West Virginia.
And they called it an interstate, and it's a damn 2-lane road along that river.
They followed a drunk snake down through the giggly weeds and paved it, and they called that an interstate.
Yeah.
It's
and then
incredible.
once in a while, you look across the river and you see a road over on that side. And I'm like, well, is that a damn different country over there on the other side of the river? Yeah, you see houses up there in the damn mountains and stuff, and there ain't no roads. And I'm like, they got helicopters or something the way they're getting there, because
I'm telling you,
I don't see a road through these mountains anyway.
What aggravates me, there's one place where you go the road that's always been there, and you think that you're on the best road, and you drive this thing for about 20 minutes, and then you look up and there's a stupid highway that parallels you that they haven't bothered to send you to yet.
There's no damn on-ramp. It's like they want they want you to go through the little west towns, and
that's the only revenue they got. You stop and buy something, or stop and buy a drink and a pack of nabs and a little bit of gasoline. That's the only thing in these stinking towns. They run these new roads by them, and these people are desolate, man. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. The last time we was up there, I told my wife, the first note I hear of banjo music, I'm turning my butt around. I'm getting the heck out of here. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Hey, Mike, I want to show something. Mike, I want to show something.
Go ahead.
He's not there. Hey, Mike.
Mike, pay attention.
I want to show something. This is the direction I'm going with your cores.
That looks good.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Let me click on you.
You're gonna make a combat airplane?
Looks like a voodoo, man.
Long tail voodoo. What do they call it?
That should work very well, Tryon.
So this is the profile that you're gonna see.
Right.
I want to make a cutout in here for the nose, so the battery is gonna butt all the way back in there, and the motor is gonna be here somewhere.
Yeah.
So the battery is gonna go like this to about the.
Going to have an electric combat. Wow.
No, it's not a combat. It's just a trainer plane. It's just a little trainer.
Oh, okay.
So the battery is gonna go like this.
That'd be cool.
That's kind of the idea I have, just to be able to put this this nice size elevator on it. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also push it back a little bit. So the elevator, I'm thinking using just 1/8 inch balsa wood, some sea grain, and the size probably 3/16 balsa wood, something lightweight. But I need, I want to ask you some questions. It's like, what kind of spars do you use? Just the spruce wood?
Spruce. Yeah.
Spruce.
And I can tell you the exact size. I should have brought you some dang spar material.
Yeah,
it's 50 pieces of it here. I get it from Aircraft Spruce.
Oh, they have it in Aircraft Spruce?
I get it from Aircraft Spruce, and because it comes in 4-foot lengths, which is nice. You get, because our combat wings are 48 inches most of the time. So you get it in 4-foot lengths. Let me measure one, and I'll tell you exactly. Well,
I know it's 3/8 by 1/8.
I think it's bigger than an eighth.
3/8 by 1/8 thickness.
I think it's bigger than that. I think it's one up from that.
No, it's 1/8. My calipers are pretty accurate. Yeah, 144, 125. It should be fine.
Brian, you can't go by what the spar channel is, because sometimes there's some expansion in there.
Okay. All right.
And a lot of times I have to sand that spar channel out. Get a small piece of spar and then run sandpaper through it to get the spars to fit flush. But yeah, if you got it, if you got, whatever you want.
Where do you run the CG on these things? So usually,
just behind the spar.
Right in the center.
Just immediate behind the spar, right?
Yeah, I mean, on something that size, I forgot how long those cores are I gave you, but that's how many squares you think that is?
This is easily about 300 square inches.
Yeah, not far behind the spar, because usually we stick the belt crank right on the CG on stuff like that, and it's within a 1/2 inch of the spar.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking also just maybe take the wing tips and clip them on an angle to make that, because this part here is not doing anything outside of that. So I'm thinking about just clipping them like this.
You can do that, or what Phil likes to do on all his models is round them. He likes to just cut a radius from the front and then radius the tips. I'm lazy, so I never finish those. I always just put a piece of 1/8 inch balsa on each as a wing cap, and then trim around it and sand it, because it stiffens them up a little bit, because they do tend to break if you don't have something on the end of the foam. It's nice to have some kind of cap on the end of the foam.
Okay, so I'll put a piece of balsa over there on the trailing edge.
I use light ply because I screw my tip weight right onto that. Or you could use light ply on one end, balsa on the other.
Yeah.
But I just take, and if I need a little piece of weight, I'll clip it, drill a hole in it, take a servo screw.
Yeah.
And just screw it in there.
Yeah.
Well, the way I do the tip weight on those foamies, I drill a hole and I use the bullet weights, the fisherman bullet weights.
Okay.
Use a 1/4 inch drill. I drill a hole in the foam, epoxy my weight in, and then I put the end cap, the tip on it. So it's already in. And I always kind of underestimate. I usually just put a 1/4 ounce in there with the build. And then the nice thing about foam is if you need to add more, you just cut a little slot right behind the spar, shove your weight in there, and put a little glue over it or a little piece of tape, and it'll stay in there.
Yeah. I was thinking about making some adjustable lead outs, but just now that I'm talking to you, I was thinking about maybe make some kind of an L-shaped kind of thing, and just so you can probably use Scotch tape and just tape it to the covering. And once you're happy with something, then you can make it more permanent.
I think I got.
So, yeah.
So I highly suggest you use Spectra lines on this thing.
Yes, I will do that. I'll definitely do that.
So here's what you do.
You're big already.
I'm big already. Okay. So I can't see. There we go. Just make a lead out guide like that with 4 holes in it.
Okay.
Right. And I just always, that's the tip I'm talking about. That's all I ever do. And I sandwich the lead out guide right up against the tip. So it's got some rigidity in there. Right.
I get it.
And then because it's Spectra, I just run the lines right to the bell crank. No lead outs. You don't need
it, Brian.
But if you got 4 holes, you'll have all the adjustment you need, and you can run both lines through the same hole if you want to.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So I mean that's all I do on them.
Wow. Hey, Brian.
I like that too. I was thinking about something like that too.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
But yeah, and you screw it on. You can either move it with it being screwed on, or you can adjust it with the deal there, and then this side.
I think it's too much trouble to make adjustable. I think just a bunch of holes where you can move, since you're connecting directly to the bell crank.
Do you tie it to the bell crank, or just remove it from the bell crank?
Why over-engineer it?
No, I'm asking you, do you tie it into the bell crank or remove it from there?
Oh, no. I've got line clips. There's line clips on the bell crank, and then the standard Spectra loop.
Yeah, that was the question. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, you wouldn't be able to move them in the lead out guide if they were tied on. But yeah, they come off with clips.
That's great.
That fishing line's incredible.
Because I'm just getting ready to put this thing together for my boy, and I'm just doing some forward planning. Right now, what I did. This is just a paper doll. I just cut it out of a dollar foam, and just to get an idea how it's going to look like, if it's feasible. But just by the looks of it right now, it looks like it's going to be very rigid because it's going to have a nice stable platform. It's not going to warp or twist or something like that. And this guy here is going to have nice muscles to move his tail around. So I also did put a piece of like a stick of balsa wood, and I start to hang on the battery, the ESC, and stuff like that. So just get an idea
of
what's going to be. Yeah.
How are you going to cover the wing? What are your plans there? What's your idea?
I'm going to do exactly what you did with Doculam, because I have that in house.
Okay, and if you want to add color to it, and it doesn't add a lot of weight,
you can paint the wing, right?
You can go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's craft store and just buy this water-based poster paint.
You know what I have? I have a water-based paint which is called it's Createx. I'll show you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. As long as it's foam safe, that's all that matters.
And you can get it in all different colors. There's pearl purple, pearlized purple, and
yeah, they have all kind of colors like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like this is very nice color. You see, it's UV. I don't think the UV attacks or something like that. So
Where
anyway,
do you buy that?
yeah, but so you paint it on a wing and then you put a clear covering on top of it. It's just coated there, right?
Right, and then
Yeah.
I put the wingtips on after I do all that too.
Yeah.
I
Now my
if you're going to do balsa tips, I do that after I've covered it because then you can trim it nice and sandwich it in.
you don't put the balsa tape first and then you cover it.
No, I cover it first because I like to do a little overlap on the tip with the covering, just a little bit, and then I just take a rectangular sheet of balsa and use some 5-minute epoxy and put it on there. And then after it's set, I take my X-Acto knife and trim off all the excess and then just hit it with a sanding block and it's done. But that way that locks the covering in on the wingtip too.
Now I have another question for you. Over here, where the twin booms go on a wing, obviously it's not a good idea to glue. They're gonna be made out of wood anyways. This is just an idea to see how it's gonna look, and this is paper dolls, right? But I'm thinking to put some to cut the foam down, and put an insert of balsa in there. So then I can cover on top of it, have a nice seal over there, take the cover away, and then glue this stuff, the booms from the back on that.
Are you talking horizontally or vertically in there?
Here, it's going to be horizontally. It's like a sheet on top of it.
Yeah, maybe just some 16th would do it, man. And it wouldn't have to be even that wide. Maybe just an inch or less. Just something to spread the load out a little bit.
64 ply.
Yeah, that could work. Or even basswood. 64th basswood would work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just skin it.
I like the 64 ply idea because I could probably just do a 3M77 and just stick it to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you do the original, and in the original wing is with 64 ply.
Are you doing landing gear, Tryon?
Yes, I will do a little landing gear. I have a 72 thousandths wire and the wheels for it too.
Yeah.
But see, Tryon, there's a 64th ply right there.
You can't even see it.
You can't see it along the edge there?
You can barely see it. Yeah.
Tom, show that hot rod you were showing a while ago.
What's that there for, Steve?
Huh?
What's that plywood there for?
Just, it gives a better space for that foam.
Okay.
To take the load up. Now, and I put mine together with RTV.
Oh, me. There's a hot rod, guys. Right there's your hot rod.
You know what a lot of people are using on these foam wings? Packing tape. Color packing tape.
We've done them too.
That looks good, Tom.
Brian, before I forget, don't forget to glass the center of that wing.
Okay.
You need to glass the center, especially since you don't have, it's not going through a profile fuselage, and most of the time on Phil's versions of those stunt planes, it's not only glass, but there's a piece of basswood that gets glued in all the way around, a 1-inch strip of basswood that goes from the trailing edge all the way around the leading edge and back to the trail. You heat it up, get it wet, bend it to shape, and then epoxy that so it's glassed and has a strip of basswood. Now, on something that small, a half-A thing, I think you can get away without using the basswood or even ply or something small like that, but make sure you use some glass on there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, you know, one spar on the top, one spar on the bottom with no splices or anything like that. But it'll need the glass. It absolutely needs the glass. Because I tried to save some weight on one of the rugged stunt trainers by not using the glass. I thought, oh, it's going to be strong enough. And the damn wing folded on it. Even with the spars, top and bottom. It was flexing. It was flexing.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So, and I think it's just, you know, 2-inch wide piece of glass with some finishing resin around it. Or if you have another way to do that with epoxy and carbon fiber or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
tell you, if Cartier puts it on there, it needs to be there.
Yes, yes.
yeah, I did buy this, which is a balsa stick. It's a 3/8 by 1/8 inch, but it's not long enough for what I need. But now that you tell me all that stuff, it's like it's pretty fragile here, right?
Well, I don't know. I bought all mine at Hobby Lobby, full length.
Yeah, but Steve, there's Hobby Lobby and then there's Hobby Lobby.
Yeah,
I used to go to Hobby Lobby up there where you are, up around Michigan, Livonia, where we went, and
Yeah.
I could buy anything up there. But you go to Hobby Lobby here, and they got 4 or 5 pieces of balsa wood. And that's as close as you come to Hobby.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like nobody's building wood anymore.
The other thing you could do, Tryon, and Phil did this on some of his other models, some of the cores that he's shipping now, and you can get away from the glass by doing this. You'd be okay using that balsa spar, but now he puts a slot in the leading edge, right? 1/8 inch slot in the leading edge, and you tuck a piece of balsa in there on both panels across the leading edge, and just white glue that in, and that adds some rigidity too. So not only do you have the spar, but now you've got a balsa leading edge that's glued in there as well. Those aren't slotted, but it'd be easy enough to take on if you've got a Dremel saw tabletop, you could run it down and put a slit in the leading edge and then run some balsa in there.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to bother with the leading edge or anything like that. I think most likely I might even end up with just the balsa spars top and bottom, and I will laminate them on the inside with the carbon fiber strip.
Yeah, that'll probably. Are the cores already glued together?
No, I just taped them together.
Okay, so here's the other thing you can do is go about 3/4 of the way back. Go like, I forget what the root is on that, but say go 3 inches behind the spar, and take about a 6 or 8 inch piece of carbon fiber tube and run it right through the foam.
Okay.
Put like a secondary spar closer to the trailing edge.
Yeah. Yeah. But Mike, you need to understand, once you put the carbon fiber on this thing, it's going to make the same spar as if it's 2 inches tall.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's going to be strong enough.
Yeah.
If I was putting a 3/8 wide, 2 inches tall piece of spar on top and bottom of this, I think would be strong enough.
No, I get it, man. I'm just telling you my experience with foam wings.
I get it.
I've had them when I haven't done that fiberglass around them. I've had them fold. So that's a smaller model, and it's probably it's a trainer anyway. It's not like you're going to be bam, 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 bam. Putting it under severe stress. But you'll know the first time you fly it. If you see the wing going like this, you'll know why.
Yes, absolutely.
The other thing we've done too is that right where the spar cutout is to cut back like 3 inches on each side of the wing and stick in a piece of 16th inch plywood and then put the spars over top of that.
Oh yeah, you can do that too, Tryon. I know exactly what Steve is talking about.
I don't.
You don't know?
No. Yeah.
So here's a half-A combat plane that already has that set up. Now Steve's talking about running it vertically behind the spar. It would go each side of the spar here, but this is the same principle. It's just a little beef up that slotted into the wing. This is the engine crutch and all that. Yeah. So I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat, man. For sure.
Yeah, I just stand it up, and if you cut it back, I got a backing saw or whatever, and we were just sawing down that spar 3 inches, glue the wing together, but you'd have that other kind of spar. I kind of got the idea from Bob Hunt, how he does his. and then just had it all sanded to shape, and then put a little white glue on it, slid it down in there, and then put the spar over top it, so it makes like a T. And
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah, I think
we
I
crash them
think
things
also
so
would help.
hard, and the wing hardly ever breaks on them. You'll dent them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I got one downstairs that's probably been crashed 4 or 5 times, and the wing never broke.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
broke the tail off, it break the nose off, stuff like that. And a lot of them, you got some epoxy and just glue the nose back on or glue the tail back on and put 2 pieces of 16-inch plywood over the tail and keep flying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the idea here. It's like that's why I went with the twin booms, because it's a little bit more rigid. The likelihood of breaking them is pretty low. Pretty light, so they don't have a lot of energy to um, to dampen. Um, I'm thinking about. Oh, I also have some spare carbon fiber on hand, so I can just use that to do the center section and patch. I'm thinking about doing patches of carbon fiber on the where the 2 booms are going to join the wing, and I think that's going to add quite a bit of strength over there, and probably pretty much solve a lot of problems. Uh, the tall spar on top and bottom, the virtual tall spar, I think 3/8 by 2 inches top and bottom, that thing is not gonna flex. If you have like 2 inches on top, 2 inches on bottom, and about 3/8 of an inch wide, imagine those spars on top and bottom of this wing. It's not going anywhere. I don't care how hard you push it. So, um, yeah. Okay, I think I have a good idea what I'm gonna do. But I really appreciate all the help, especially Tom's help. He knows what I'm talking about, and I'm already using that Tom, the map command.
Okay.
Yep, and also constrain. It's another it's a constraint command as well that you can use.
All right.
Similar to that.
Now, when you guys reinforce these foam wings, when you put the fiberglass, do you make like an oval shape at one side and make another oval shape a little bit bigger, and you kind of build it up and you go wider and wider and cover more area? That's how I saw Ricky Rocky do it when he would do his wing.
You need to do that if you got a big, like a 60-inch wing, something like a big stunner, like what he's flying, the Cardinal or Pat. It's really a Cardinal's nothing but a restyle pattern master. Man, I couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I got you back.
Anyway, on a big wing like that, 60 inches with a Tiger 60 in it, yeah, if you put one in the center and then you put an ellipse, I always put a 2-inch in the center, then you put a big ellipse, and then you put a 2 or 3-inch over top of that. Yeah. And then you got to mold everything in flat. But on these little planes like this, you're not generating enough G-force to need all that.
Okay.
All that fiberglass would weigh more than the plane really needs to try to carry.
Okay.
My take on that. This is my take on that. The glue is so strong and the fiberglass is so thin that you are actually using to the point that anything past the 2 inches up, practical the width of your fuselage, anything that's outside of that is just going on for the ride, is not contributing to the joint of the 2 wings, because if you look, most wings, if you shear them or they split up, they're right down in the center, right?
Yeah, these will fold in the center.
Yeah,
that's true.
So you have enough gluing joint, but what I would do the width of the fuselage and another strip a little bit less than that, about halfway through, about 1 inch or so wide on top of it. So you have like a double one top of each other. Then when you start to finish the plane, it's a lot easier because you have a flat surface. You don't have to mess with it, blending in.
I think Wendy would also would cross grain them too. He'd find the grain of it and he'd cross them.
He did.
Yeah. And yes, this is a very, very excellent point. If you put it at 0.90, only one side of the fiber is taking the load, right? If you put it at plus minus 45 degrees in there, two things are going to happen. Number one, it's going to be much easier to put in there, all right, because it's going to move. It's going to be very easy to maneuver, and it will go around the leading edge a lot easier too. So you don't have those creases and stuff like that on top of it. So I'll go plus minus 45 degrees because that way all the fiber is working towards holding the wing together on both layers. And the trick to it is to you take a piece of wax paper,
Right.
and you take some 3M77, and if the wax paper is here, you spray it horizontally above the wax paper, about 2 feet above, right?
Right. Right.
And let the 3M70 kind of rain down on a wax paper. And then you take the wax paper, you take your fiberglass, you lay it flat, and put your flat wax paper right on top of it at 45 degrees, right?
Right.
And use that as a transfer tool, right? And what you want to do, put very light. You do the same thing again with the 3M77 over the. Use the wax paper and cut the strip out, right? However long you need it, right?
Right.
And so you can handle this thing very easily now. You can move it with the wax paper because it's sticking to the wax paper very nicely. So now, as you lightly spray the 3M77 on your fiberglass, now you can orient it on top of your wing and just lay down perfectly in position on the trailing edge, and you can move it over. And as you and go around the leading edge towards the trailing edge, and then you remove the wax paper off of it, and just push it with your hands back down against the wing, and you can use epoxy, whatever you want to use after that, because the 3M77 will be dissolved in a process.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Ramal, I'm using. I think mine is going up to 14 beats or something like that. It's 16,000. It's not 255. 255. It's 8 beats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So mine is reading from 0 to 16,384.
Okay.
Anyways, so that's my take on that. I think Wendy was doing a wonderful job, but I don't think the oval shape, all the extra stuff that you put outside, because the 1 inch, if you take the 1 inch surface, on which is you're actually doing the gluing on, and you look at the analysis of how strong the glue joint is strong enough to break right down to the center line. So,
Wow.
so actually 2 inches left and right. That's. Go ahead.
I think you're right, but I think a whole lot of Wendy's deal was people were putting the foam wings together and getting them from him, and they weren't cheap. And then they were putting them together, and if you looked at the crash, you realized that what they'd done, they put the plane together, and then they put a 1 inch piece of fiberglass down the center, and they thought that was good enough. So I don't know if Wendy told everybody to go with the heavier stuff. I think more than anything else, just to get them to do something.
Yeah.
Because we were at the Nationals one year, and there was 3 planes folded wings. And when we looked at the planes, not one of them had any fiberglass tape in the center. None.
I'm willing to bet big money that they lay their fiberglass at 0.90, in which only half of it is working for what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And number 2,
I wouldn't doubt that a bit if they used any at all, but 2 of them didn't have any at all. I don't know for sure about the third one because I didn't get to see it. I just was told, he did the same darn thing, but 2 of them didn't have any glass at all. And then I can't understand why it folded.
Yeah, for the simplicity of building, I know it's a pain in the ass to blend in fiberglass over the over balsa wood or something like that. So stay away from getting the fiberglass one over the balsa wood where it's in a ice view, right, outside of the fuselage. But because if you put it 0.90, only half of the fiberglass actually holds the wing together. If you go plus 45 degrees, all of it works together. right? So
Yeah.
you basically you double the strength over there just by laying it in the right direction. Then if you put the fuselage with strip and plus another strip that's 1 inch wide on top of it,
Yeah.
then you have 4 times the strength than you usually have. I don't
Okay.
think that's going to break ever.
So instead of putting the strips down straight, you turn them 45 degrees to the way it's going.
Exactly. Hmm.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
because now if you put like this, only the
Yeah.
strands that go in that direction are going to hold the
Yeah.
weight. These ones that
Yeah.
go back and forth, they're just going for the right. They don't do
Yeah.
anything.
Just there. Okay. That makes perfect sense.
So you have this. If this is one, if you put it at bias at 45 degrees, you have 1.4 strength.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now,
Because
the other thing is that, you guys, where they do like the football looking things, where they stack them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to stand out on that balsa, to
that's
blend
what I'm
it in.
talking about. Yeah, and it's not adding any more strength on a joint.
But what it is if you're past the fuselage and you got to blend in,
Oh,
take thin epoxy and go about 2 to 3 inches out past the fiberglass
Right.
and harden that wood. And now when you're sanding, you ain't dipping into that
The
soft balsa.
Yeah.
And you can wipe it all back off, and it'll put a crust on there hard enough to where you can blend it. You'll never see it, and you won't sand into your balsa wood. But go
Tell you
out.
another.
Everybody
Go
puts it on there, and then barely gets right along the edge of the fiberglass. They don't go out further, so you can blend.
Yeah. Another trick is instead of sanding it, file it.
Yeah.
Take a file to it, and that's it works for me. I don't know if it works for everybody, but that's the way I do it. But you're right. Take it out 2 inches past the end of the fiberglass, or at least an inch and a half.
Yeah.
And then when you go cutting on it, you don't cut into the bare balsa. If you do happen to hit it, you just hit it. You don't dig into it. What the heck is that, Mike? It looks like a small Oriental.
Oriental.
Oh, it's a full size Oriental. Okay.
Yeah, it's the one I got from that guy out of Kentucky that bought the estate out. I'm trying to find out who 5782 is.
No idea. Those 40
It's an
digit
old
numbers
guy.
used to be hard to get.
So the Cardinal's ready to go. I just finished putting a tank on that, and I thought I'd get this down. And it had a Fox 35 in it. It's got a 40th anniversary Fox 35 in it. It was gummed up, but I got her free now. But that ain't no stock backplate, I'll tell you that.
That's Randy Smith black
That's what it
backplate.
looks like.
Well, this
What
might
is
be
it
a
got?
good product. I wonder what's inside it. I'm not going to take it apart, but if it's got a Randy backplate, maybe it's got some good internals in it.
What head does it have on it? Does it look like the stock head?
Yeah, it's a stock head. It's got a tiger needle in it. Got the right tiger needle in it for a Fox 35. So
That's
hopefully,
probably that stuffer backplate.
That's probably what it is.
yeah.
Everybody thought that was just going to be the ticket rod.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out why our motors didn't run like Randy's, and then he started telling us about it's got a $150 crank in it, and oh God.
Yeah, the high zoot crank.
Yeah.
My brother has one, and it runs good, but it doesn't run any better than that shiny 35 that finally I got broke in. They run about the same.
That in you?
No, it's a Fox, but remember the shiny one? They had one that looked almost like chrome.
The shiny case
Oh,
30.
the something anniversary. What was that? 40th, 50th?
That was before that, but this thing's shiny, and that was the one I had to take Lust Rocks and sprinkle it in the intake to break that thing in.
I've never been gutsy enough to use that stuff.
This one you would, because I couldn't get it to start with a starter.
Oh Lord.
We were taking
tough.
we were taking a heat gun and heating this thing up. I mean, so hot. and it would go run, run, and that was it. So I'm like, screw it. I have lust rocks. I put some in there, and that thing's and all of a sudden go and quit. And I kept doing it until I could get it to run for about, I don't know, a minute with it not season up or whatever they did. And I sat out there on that bench and ran about 2 gallons of fuel through it. And
oh Lord!
I finally got it broke in enough to where it would hold the needle for the whole tank. And if you read the directions, that's what he said. You had to use lust rocks until it would run the whole tank without changing the needle setting or changing RPM. But yeah, I put about 2 gallons through it, and Samantha, I don't know, probably flown about 5 gallons through it, and it runs great. It doesn't have the burp anything like these other ones do.
I'd like to have one that did that because mine all burp. I've got them that Tom built. I've got them that Randy built. I've got them that I built. I've got them. Oh God, and they all have a death burp. You put them if you mount them sideways, they got a bad death burp.
Well, I'm just hoping this one runs in this airplane because this is what was in it, and
yeah.
I'm worried. I'm going to try to clean the tank out. That's the next operation here. God knows what's going to come out of that. But there's no access to the tank. It's completely built in, painted all
the way the guys used to do it. That's the way the guys used to do it.
So hopefully I get it clean enough. I'll put this motor in it. We'll try it. It needs a few patches on the wing. I'll take care of that. But if this motor don't, and I hate Foxes, I don't want to run this damn Fox, but since it was what was in the airplane, I'll make fuel for it and we'll try it. But if it's a headache, it's going bye-bye.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, if it's a headache, put the double star 40 in it. That's an exact drop in.
Right. Well, that's on the Cardinal. I got to try that on the Cardinal first and see if that even.
But I mean, you can always just move it from one airplane to another.
Yeah, if I can get the tank cleaned out.
Yeah.
I'll let you know in a minute. I'm going to flush it here in just a second and see what kind of unholiness comes out of it.
Yeah, you better let it soak overnight.
Well, I'm just going to do an initial flush just to see
if any crap.
You know, who knows? Maybe roll the dice and see what happens. You know.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I had one that had set for 10 years, and I ran a little bit of alcohol through it one time, and took the stopper on the fueler and just did this with it, so it was pushing it in, pulling it out, just keeping it moving. Did that a few times, and then pushed it all out the bottom. I didn't want to suck it all up in the rubber. So I just blew it all out the bottom, and there really wasn't that much crap come out of it. But went ahead, and the next time it had anything in it, it was fuel at the field, and that sucker cranked up and ran great.
I forget what airplane someone gave Samantha, but we put that Fox 35 on it because that's what it was drilled for and everything. And we flew it, but I had to run a damn filter. In every flight, I had to pull the filter apart and clean it. Because it took, I don't know how many flights to finally get that tank clean. And I tried to clean it. But crap would still come out of it for months. But we finally got it all out of there.
I've got one like that about every time I go flying when I come home.
Stevie killing me.
I never have to.
Stevie killing me. More time fixing the filtering and cleaning that stuff than it's worth. You probably just buy a new fuel tank, call it a day.
No, because they built them inside the airplane. There was no getting that fuel tank out.
That's the whole point, Brian. Look, this tank, it's built, feathered in, painted in.
Yeah.
There's no access to this tank.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right.
If this tank
is thing with that one that Samantha had, and you couldn't do anything, is that or cut it apart and try to get it out there.
That's the thing.
That's the way they were.
Yeah, that's the way they used to be. I've always built mine with take apart tanks or take out removable tanks. But I'll never build another plane like that where it's got a drop-in motor. I'll never do that again. Mine will have a cowl on it. My new Tucker has a cowl on it. I can't stand that drop-in motor look. It just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, I like a cow too.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I've got here a 5/8 inch thick glass, basically table. It was not cheap.
No.
Now, the last wing I built on this was the Brodak Vector 40. But the Brodak Vector 40 had, when you put that together, the wing ribs had these tabs on the bottom where you can turn around and pretty much build the wing just as long as you had a flat surface. Now, I have got the Saginaw over here, and I want to build the wings, but the Saginaw requires that you use this Brodak wing jig. And I have no way of figuring out how I'm going to attach a wing jig to a hard glass table because it's just not
CA.
to do that.
It's just a little CA.
It's a drop to CA, and you can it'll scrape right off. With a sharp blade.
The thing is, you don't understand this table. I'm not going to put CA glue on this table. It's not something you glue CA to.
All right, being an old military guy, I'll tell you, I duct tape.
Okay. Otherwise, I was just going to ask him, what kind of board do you guys, if you have a flat, basically, okay.
I have what used to be a boardroom table. It's 4x8, and somebody sat on it and broke one of the legs. And we took the other 3 legs off, and you wouldn't believe the Mutt and Jeff traveling circus getting that thing out of the building and getting it home. But then I built a 2x4 frame under it. Yep. The thing is dead straight, and I bought glass. I bought glass and put on top of it, and that's what I.
It's got 2 levels. The top level, it sits on 2 chromed A-frames, which are which basically hold the top shelf, and then there's another shelf that's glass, which is the second shelf, which is 1/4-inch glass underneath the top shelf to hold various different things. Of course,
in other words, he doesn't want to mess up a nice table.
Right. So what you need to do is get yourself a building table.
Yeah, but the thing is, I got that thing over there, and I can't build flat for. Excuse me, I can't build flat for beans on that thing.
Well, get a piece of glass and put on top of it.
But I'm thinking, I was just wondering what kind of, even if you
looks good.
A granite countertop, you have to put something on top of it so you can pin or attach something to that.
I can't see anything in that, Mike.
Not for the wing jig. That wing, you haven't opened it up and built the little T braces or anything yet?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, so it's just a flat, I'd say 2 inches wide by, 8-10 inches. That goes together, you square it up. That just sets on a table.
Okay.
And then the bars go on top of that.
Okay, that works. So I don't have to clamp. I can clamp it down. That's not a problem.
No.
Yeah, that'll work.
Use a little RTV.
Okay. I just do not necessarily want to use CA on this, although it'll scrape right off probably.
That's silicone will do. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, a little bit of RTV just around the edges and poke it down, and then when you get ready to take it off there, get you a piece of old your control lines, and just cut a piece and go and just stick it on there, and it'll cut that stuff off. That's what
kite string.
I do have a those sticker scraper for cars. It's a long handled thing that takes a razor blade that you used to use to remove stickers from windshields on inspection stickers or whatever from windshields.
Just remember, if you're going to pull it up with that, Pete, Put the RTV just on the edges, because if you put it in the middle, you can't get the blade in that far.
Okay.
That's why I was saying, if you take 15,000 lines and cut you a hunk, you can get it under there and just pull it, and it'll cut right through that stuff.
Yeah, because this table is the flattest thing that I've got.
Because that airplane I had a minute ago, I said I RTV'd the wing in. If you got to get them out, you just use a piece of wire and just cut the RTV, and they'll come right apart.
Okay. I was just double checking.
But yeah, Dennis Adamission told me about that when we were talking about that. He goes, use a little bit of RTV. Yeah, but you can never get that stuff apart. He goes, yeah, you just use a piece of control line wire and just run it through kind of like a hot wire when you're cutting a foam wing.
Yeah, this thing is like 5/8 inch of tempered glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's
nice.
flat.
That's a nice table. Steve, why did you not? I'm stunned with all the success that Samantha had with a hot shot. I'm surprised y'all didn't build a bigger hot shot, because I've got one I've been drawing up. I built the hot shot and been letting everybody, I was going to let everybody use it for a trainer, and nobody's used it. But we just got a guy moved back to town now that will use it. But anyway, I have blown up the hot shot fuselage and I'm going to put a cardinal wing in it and see if I can't get a plane going with that. I think I'm going to call it the big shot.
Oh, okay. I got one down there that is ready for a battery. I got the fuselage all cut out and all that kind of stuff. And I think I got the wing done and everything for it. But Samantha always wanted a bigger airplane and then one with flaps.
Yeah.
So the hot shot or the long shot is the one that's bigger than a hot shot. He called it the long shot. And we did the long shot.
One bay more on each side, isn't it?
I think so. I can't remember. 2 inches on each panel. It's 4 inches longer. The tail. But that was the last one of a non-flap airplanes, and then we went with flapped airplanes after that. Then she jumped to the 40 size Vector.
Yeah, it's always got me. I spent my whole life trying to move up to flaps and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what are we all flying, all having a ball with now? A stinking Ringmaster with a 25 on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to the roots.
Don't make sense, but we're all flying Ringmasters. Out there Saturday, 12 guys, 11, with Ringmasters, and just having more fun than a bunch of kids giggling and cutting up and just having a ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a blast.
Excuse me one second. Ron Layden on the chat box, he says for Peter that sheetrock overlay works the best.
Yeah, I agree with you, except that what I would end up having to do is get like a 2 foot wide by 3.5 foot wide piece of sheetrock to lay over on top of this. And of course, everybody knows that when you cut sheetrock and you need just a small little piece like that, it's going to leave it's going to leave white gypsum board dust. Just
tape it. What I did on mine's not sheetrock. It's some other kind of hard board that takes water and all that kind of stuff. And all I did was to cut it to the size of the table, and then got some 3-inch tape and taped the edges.
That's what I did. And
then you got no more white stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But I agree, because I actually did think of that, but I'm gonna if you said the way this jig sets up, I think I'll be just fine.
That jig will work.
Yeah, that jig will work. But what I did on my table was I was going to use glass, and then I got that so I could pin things. But if you look at that jig, that got me thinking about how to make a fuselage jig.
Yeah.
So on this piece of, I'm going to call it gypsum board, but it's really not.
Probably
I got my center line and then a 90 for the wing line setup. And I made, basically, I bought another one of them wing jigs. But Brodeck said he'll sell you, they can cut you the little tees. So I cut them up and drilled holes in them. And I set the plan down, and I set a piece of parchment paper down. Then I take these tees and I pin them in place down the fuselage. And then I have my wing jig. And when I set the fuselage in there, it's set to where the tee's at for the wing. And then I start building the fuselage, put the wing in, build the wing, and none of the jigs ever come separate. And then I built some taller tee things for the wing, so I can square it and stick them in, and then the wing can't move or anything like that. And I got a height gauge on it, so I can go out on the tips, out towards the edge, and put a pin in there, and that'll hold the leading and trailing edge, and everything is like pinned to the table. Then we go in and glue it.
You did a good job, Steve.
Because either I'd have had to have a damn fuselage jig and then a wing jig, and then I was seeing how these guys are putting them together on the table and all that kind of stuff. But if you build the ones that you can build upside down, you know, to where the motor rails are flat on the table and the tail is flat in the back like in a vector, you can build that whole thing on that table without ever moving. Once you start building and putting stuff together, you don't ever have to move anything.
Yeah.
And I'll just put in the formers and, you know, go along, put them where they got to go. You can see it on the plans. And you can sand them, whatever. Drop the CA on them. They're there. Bring the tail in. Then I slip the stab underneath. And I have a line back there to square everything with the wing. It's all measured out. Get that in place and glue it. And I mean, when everything's glued, I take all the pins out. And the airplane, I just flip over and it's done.
Oh, very good.
That's basically the way you have to build a I-beam wing airplane, because you put plates for the two tip ribs, and they're going to sit on the table, and then the fuselage holds it in the center, and you glue the fuselage to the glass. But you do it after putting marks on the glass.
And that's where I got thinking. I seen how they were doing the wings and building it, and I'm like, I can do that on a regular airplane. And I talked to Bob Hunt, and he'll cut you, but you can do it on a piece of balsa wood. But he makes a kind of a standoff deal on his wingtips like that slide on.
Right.
Yeah.
You set on the table.
Yeah.
Mine's just adjustable. So if at the fuselage it's 2 inches, I set that at 2 inches, and then that holds each leading edge and trailing edge at 2 inches.
Yeah.
And I stick it in that way, and then nothing moves. And I just start gluing everything up.
Very good.
Yeah, that sounds like a winner.
But you got to be able to walk around the damn table. That's the only thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice having an island. It's nice having an
But
island.
I ended up having to redo the whole damn basement because my one table was shoved up on this wall, another table with the damn bandsaw and stuff on the other wall, and the room ain't that big. So then I got to move everything around and grab my one table, move it out in the middle of the room.
You're preaching to the choir, Steve. We all got the same problem.
You know, one day I want to show us a tour of your shop, Steve, and
you never have enough
Phil.
room.
I know Mike Lonkey's shown us his shop before.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of neat to see these shops.
Lonkey's got it.
I don't have a mic shop. It's basically I've got a room here, and that's about all what I have.
Well, my shop is so tiny right now, it's not even funny. I've got so much stuff stored in my basement that I keep having to take stuff off the table and lay it over here because people lay it up there trying to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I said, no. I've given up the rest of the shop. I can't walk through it. But by George, you're not covering up my table.
Yes,
So,
exactly. I
Yeah.
understand that.
so
Yeah.
My shop, it's an 8 foot by 8 foot corner in this garage.
yeah,
Hey, that'll work.
That's all I get.
I know
Well,
what
what
you mean.
you do is
I don't,
What you
have,
do-
I don't have that much room in my garage. My garage has got to store a car, a motorcycle, and a water and a water toy. So the
Yeah.
garage is off limits.
Oh boy, now that's a nice toy right there.
Yeah.
How in
I
the
like
hell
li-
did you get that in your basement?
It's not in my basement. It's in my machine shop area, which is a garage.
Is that a Bridgeport?
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to a Bridgeport.
Oh, you got an old block garage, don't you?
Yep.
You know, that's. I tell you what, I had one. Oh shit, years ago, and that's where my shop was at. But in the wintertime, you couldn't heat it.
Yeah.
I mean, that rock gets cold when it's 0 degrees outside and
You
stuff.
have to keep it. You have to keep it warm, Steve. You can't just turn the heat on when you walk in. You got to keep it warm.
Yeah, he hasn't shown us the lathe yet. You know, he's not,
Do you have a lathe
Okay.
too, Tom?
No, I don't. I wish I did.
I
I
bet you
need to
did.
get one.
Hey, Tom,
tell
you
you
might
what.
like this.
That right there is nice.
You might like this. You want to see?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Here you go. It's not about garage shops or something like that, but this is my rig here. So I have a motor, the breadboard with accelerometer in it, and a battery. And this guy is pivot.
the strangest drone I've ever seen.
So this guy is pivoting around the point. So what I'm trying to have it just go spin like this, like a helicopter, and try to hold a constant RPM with it by just using the gyro and the PID controller to prove the concept and stuff like that. So
Okay.
so that's kind of what I'm playing with here.
Hey, if you make that an airfoil, then you can put it on a pin.
Enough, Steve.
And let it fly like pin jack as they're at the dance, like that airplane, that motor on the stick or whatever he has. That makes it pretty cool. It gets
Trey's got
going
you
like that.
figured out,
Stop it. Yeah, but then you'll have double use. You can prove the concept, and then once you prove the concept, you can prove it'll fly something.
Oh, you know, first
Steve,
time,
you're funny.
first time I ever,
Yeah,
What
but
you
you're
have
funny
to do-
looking.
What?
first, I don't know.
I said you're funny, but you're funny looking.
Oh, I'm gonna stay out of that one. The first time I ever
Anyways,
saw
guys,
an
I want to
elect-
say good night.
Oh, yeah,
I
hang
gotta
on,
go to work
Tryon.
tomorrow.
Hey, Tryon, hang on 1 second. I want to show everybody your reverse wing over. I was really impressed with it. Maybe you guys might not be as impressed as I am. Let me show you this real quick. If I can do this here.
He's not moving.
I'll move it up a
There
little bit.
you go. Okay.
Wow.
That was nice.
Wow. That was very nice.
Not bad, right?
You'd have got a bunch.
Absolutely not.
You'd have scored a bunch of points for me on that one because that was as pretty as I've seen. Where the heck are you flying there, though? That's a lot shorter grass than that park we were at.
It's a different park, very close by the one we are flying at, and the grass is not short.
It's
actually
not?
Probably a little bit taller.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
That grass was something, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They got if nothing else, guys, in Georgia, they got some unbelievable tough grass.
Oh yeah, and grows fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Now, you guys, I have a question for you. Was that video smooth?
Yes. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was beautiful,
Sure.
and you could hear the motor humming the whole time. So it was a good. That was a really good one.
Geez, Mike's on fire.
Phil, did you see that tank? You were the only one paying attention.
Oh, you got to go to work, Tryon.
That's
All
right.
right.
It was clean. Try and take care, buddy. See you Friday.
Good night, Tryon.
Right.
It's gonna go like
Take care. It looked clear.
Looked pretty good. There was no chunk, no black, no green, no goo. It all looked really good.
Oh man, that's nice toys. I'll tell you what, when you fly that airplane, Mike, you're going to wish you'd kept that one for yourself, because that plane flies like a Nobler. And I crashed mine, or I'd still be flying that thing. That was one of the best flying planes I've ever had. Just fun to fly.
Somebody's,
Are you showing your boat flying, Tom? That you doing?
somebody's got to get rid of a boat.
I have 6 boats. There's 3 in this picture.
Gee.
6 boats. Lord.
Boats?
That's not counting the wave runners. I have 3 wave runners too.
I thought that was a pontoon for one of your new airplanes.
Is one of them a bass boat?
Well, I've got
Looks like
a
speedboat, some kind of outboard.
That's a Mercury outboard, and then there's
this one's 10 feet and has 50 horsepower.
and there's a Forester down at the bottom there under a tarp.
That's 175 horse. And this one is
Oh, Jesus, he's got a hydro.
And a hydro.
9-foot hydro pickle fork with a KG4 racing motor.
How many horsepower is that?
I think they're back in the 50s. They're rated at like 15 horse, but they say they're a lot more horsepower than that.
I think if you check it, you're going to find it's more like 30. It's more like
A
double
buddy
what
of
their rated
mine-
is at.
He had a little pickle fork hydro like that, and you had to drive it on your knees. And it was a 10 horse limit, but it was a little dinky thing.
Yeah.
Steve, my dad built that boat from Popular Mechanics plans. I know the exact boat you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a home built with a 10 horse. My father built it in 1965. And he had a 10 horse Atwater on it. And you sat on your knees in this thing. It was in Popular Mechanics. My father built one, and it hung in our garage for right next to the gyrocopter, an old beat up gyrocopter that he had bought too. So Dad built a gyrocopter.
Really them things would really
A real
go.
one.
Get them up on
But he
planes.
bought
on
Golly, Pete.
He had a
You did-
wrecked gyrocopter in the garage, and then he had that little mushroom speedboat with the 10 horse Atwater. I never saw him drive it ever. And it ended up, it just went to rot. It was hanging from 2 beams in the garage at our house in
Well,
Detroit.
now-
And he built it in 65, and it ended up going to rot. But I've seen guys race them. You can find YouTube videos of them.
Oh yeah, they still do it. They still race them. I got a fella here lives about a mile from me that I've gone down there and done some work on the boat, and he wants to pay me well. I said, no, this is what I do for fun. But I went to watch the race, and they sit on these, but they're, I want to say 6 or 7 feet long. Got a 35 horse motor on. No, it isn't either. It's a 25 horse motor on the back of it.
Shit.
And I mean, there's this much boat in the water. That's it.
Yeah.
That thing's going by just the propeller and about that much of the back end of the boat. It's just flying. And I'm sitting there, one good rogue wave, and those things just go spinning. And I'm sitting there, golly molly, these guys got to dig. They have to go out there in the big boats and pull a boat out every time they race them. At least one flips and sinks.
Well, my buddy, he said that he quit because so many people were getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They go into a corner, and he said you'd hit, and sometimes it depends on the angle. The one boat will go right over top of the other, propeller and all.
Oh yeah. I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen, and then flip. Well, you think about it. The thing that's in the water is not as big as your hand. That little sponson or whatever you call it, little rudder-looking thing. It's not as big as your hand, and that's all. That's all the side grip that thing's got. I'm saying, goodness, these guys. I'm crazy, but these guys are crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe 25. They said 10 was crazy fast and hard to handle.
Well, these are the unlimiteds, but even the unlimiteds had to be limited because the guys kept trying to go bigger and bigger. But I've got a buddy that's got one that's got a 15 on it. He lives up in Reedsville. That's 40 miles from here. It's a 15 horse motor, supposedly, but it's cranking out over 35 horses. And then I've got a 175 on my bass boat, but I can outrun the 225s. He worked for Mercury for years building race motors, and that's what he did for a living until he retired. And my motor, you won't find a 175 that'll run anywhere near like mine. That thing is just, it used to be his boat, and he found a 250 on I forgot what kind of boat it is. Mine's a Ranger. I can't remember what his is. It's not a Bullet, but it's something like that. Intimidator, whatever it is, it's an Intimidator.
Yeah. Wasn't Mercury made in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's where that's what Len run was a Mercury.
Yeah.
And people in the factory did work on these things at home, and they made him a short shaft version of it.
Yeah.
Where they cut it and re-weld it and do all this stuff, and yeah, I mean, he said he got so crazy that he quit.
They don't even resemble a regular motor. I mean, they don't even look like one. Mm-hmm. It's funny though. They're built in Minnesota, and then they race them. They test them at Lake X, which is in Florida, and Lake X really exists. There really is a lake in Florida they call Lake X.
Okay.
And it's a wild deal, man. These guys. You talk about some guys getting really serious. These guys are crazy. I'm talking really crazy. You go to one of those boat races, and these guys are in their long pants and everything, and they just wade right out there in the water, help everybody get these boats going. They're holding the water. They're out there in the waist deep, holding this boat, and the guy crawls up in it, and then he cranks the motor, and they stand there a minute. Then they push him off, and then they think, "Oh crap! I forgot to take my cell phone out of my pocket." No, I'm going to go in the water. I'm going to take my electronics out of my pocket.
Yes.
These guys, I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Hey guys, let me close the stream. I'm going to just make a short announcement, all right?
Yeah, go for
all right.
it.
Hey guys, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Hey, tonight we talked about flying inverted. I think Trine did a great job talking about that, and we talked about the igniters. And then we talked about the Ringmaster Fly-a-thon and Detroit Stunners we talked about, and how to reinforce spars and building surfaces. And we had like 15 people at one time watching us, and then we had a bunch of people on the chat. So I think tonight was a pretty good show. I'd like to let you know we're going to be back again next, today's Monday, we'll be back Friday at the same time, roughly. So go out there and have some fun, and then come back and tell us all about it. I'd like to say good night to everybody out there on YouTube. Thanks for coming out, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, Charles.
All right.